it's a story of my childhood. Firstly, I was the youngest in my family, and I'm the smallest. My eldest, I have two older brothers and one older sister. Two of my older brothers are much more taller than myself. Right? My oldest brother is 5'9". For Asian standard, 5'9" is very tall. My second brother is 5'7". When it come to me, it's 5'2". Okay, I lied, 5'1". Yeah, and so being small, I was bullied like crazy by my classmates and my schoolmates. And so, that inspired me to help the defenseless, people who felt that they are being targeted on and bullied upon. And so then, I thought I'm going to help people like myself. And so usually the bullied becomes the bullies. That's usually the case. Right? Most bullies are usually been abused or bullied before, and therefore they want to show that aggressive stance to defend themselves. But I thought, hey, I'm not going to be a bully. I'm going to be a helper. God is my help, and therefore I'm going to extend God's love for me to others. And also, I grew up visiting my grandfather in the mental institution. He was tortured by the Japanese during World War II when they came on to Southeast Asia. So my
Oh wow.
grandfather was one of those insurgents that will fight the Japanese, and know that he was caught. And so the Japanese then take him as a subject of experiment on the human threshold for pain. And
Oh
so they
wow.
subjected him to all kinds of torture, like electrocution and all that. And every time he faint or he could not stand to those, cannot stand up to this torture, then they will let him rest. And when he's awake again, then they will torture him. He became the subject of experiment on the threshold of a man. And then his mind gave ways.
Mm.
And then he suffered some schizophrenia and all that. So um, I was born in the 60s and he was still alive. The World War II was in the 40s. He was still alive, but I think physically he is strong, but mentally he's gone.
Okay.
And he had never acknowledged me as his grandson. He never recognized me. And so there are times
Mm.
we visited him in the hospital. He would just look at us, stare at us blankly, and wondering who we were. And sometimes he would not even acknowledge my mom as his daughter. And so highly functioning ones in a mental institution are allowed to, walk in the compound of the hospital and all that. And so sometimes we children are not allowed in the ward. And so I then observe all these more functioning mental patient walking around talking to themselves, and they stop at a tree and they talk to a tree. And I was wondering, is the tree alive? And
Hmm.
so after they talk to the tree, gesture at the tree, and then walk away, I ran to the tree and say, "Hello, anyone in there?" Later on, I realized that okay, they suffer from all this, and then I said to myself, "I'm going to help these people."